and sin because God's going to forgive me. There needs to be that lack of yaqeen in order to keep you, or how would you translate yaqeen?
Certainty.
Thank you. That lack of yaqeen to keep you going, to keep you keep seeking the tawbah, to keep seeking repentance from Allah, instead of to simply, if you drink, for example, to pick up your beer, have a drink, and then say, Allah Ghafur Rahim, and then go drink the next day. And I think that there still needs to be that fine line between, it's kind of like a dance where you're trying to do the best that you can, but at the same time not falling into the fallacy of, this is easy, it's okay, Allah Ghafur Rahim.
Right. But I agree with you, but I would have to rephrase that, because what Dara is concerned about exists. So there's no way to argue against it. There are people who have this coat hanger of, I'll do whatever, and Allah Ghafur Rahim, and then they'll kill someone or whatever, not that bad. But like you said, drink, or that's true. But the reason I said rephrase it is because it can't be lack of yaqeen, the lack of certitude. In other words, what Dara was talking about, if I understood it correctly, is a healthy degree of not being sure you're forgiven or not.
Exactly.
That's what Dara is talking about, and therefore, being on your toes and seeking forgiveness. I would like to rephrase that into having yaqeen, certitude, conviction, certainty in that you will be forgiven after you've sought forgiveness. So you do have the yaqeen, right? But it's only after you said astaghfirullah.
Right.
That's a more positive way of looking at it, and to balance that other part where Dara's genuine concern that does exist is to say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not forgive persistence, and so you're not supposed to persist. I mean, obviously He will forgive persistence, persisting upon a sin. Yeah. Obviously, don't get me wrong, He will forgive persistence, obviously, once you've sought forgiveness.
Right.
But there's no لا صغيرة مع إصرار. Even a small sin.
ولا كبيرة مع استغفار.
Exactly. Even a small sin is not a small sin anymore when you've persisted upon it. But I actually agree with Dara. Obviously, there's a genuine concern about this coat hanger thing of, what, I'll just do this sin, Allah Ghafur Rahim, and you're just saying it, but you're not even seeking that forgiveness. You're actually seeking to justify your own lifestyle, and we all make that kind of mistake, so may Allah forgive us all. Ameen. But yeah, I totally agree with you. And there's an interesting verse in the Quran. It is me indeed, that I am the forgiving, the ever forgiving, the ever merciful. وَأَنَّ عَذَابِي هُوَ الْعَذَابُ الْأَلِيمُ, and that my punishment is the painful torment, is the severe painful punishment. He doesn't say أَنَا الْمُعَذِّبُ الْمُؤْلِمُ. He doesn't say I am the punisher. He doesn't give himself that name. So I'm forgiving and merciful. And not me, but my punishment. Of course Allah does it, but it means that it's something that I don't want to bring out. So don't let me bring it out. In other words, just seek my forgiveness. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah An-Nisa, مَا يَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ بِعَذَابِكُمْ إِن شَكَرْتُمْ وَآمَنْتُمْ. What will Allah do with punishing you? If only you thanked and believed, if you're grateful and showed faith. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ شَاكِرًا عَلِيمًا. And Allah was grateful and all-knowing. And so it's just amazing how in reality this punishment mentality that you said some people are brought up actually told in rahba, in constant fear of Allah.
You find that at the mosque sometimes in the Jum'ah prayers, the khutbah, you'll find that the sheikh, sometimes I know especially in Egypt, you find the sheikh will be screaming into the mic about, how you'll be tortured in hell, and how you always have to keep that in the back of your mind, and it makes people walk around, I feel that they're extremely terrified of the deen rather than pulled into it.
Yeah. I mean, what's your backdrop? What's going to be, there's punishment and there's reward, but what's your backdrop? Is your backdrop hoping to be rewarded, hoping to be forgiven, and may I not be punished? May Allah not bring that out for me? That's the correct backdrop. Or is your backdrop punished? And that stunts human spiritual growth.
I think you're absolutely right. The idea that you're afraid of the punishment more than you are wanting of the reward is horrible to live with continuously.
Completely un-Islamic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the idea that getting up to pray al-Fajr because you have to.
The chore.
Because if you
don't do,
then you're going to burn in hellfire for eternity.
I know.
It's horrible.
It's pathetic.
But if you're getting up to pray al-Fajr because you want to,
beautiful.
It's something else. It's a completely different feeling. It's, again, I go back to my wife just because she may be watching.
He's only bringing this up because she may be watching.
And if I really love my wife, really love my wife, I'll be happy to do things for her Not because I'm scared she's going to, bang my head with the pot.
Okay.
But because she's going to be happy.
Absolutely.
Just to make her happy, just to please her.
Absolutely.
And of course this applies, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى, يعني, and to God are the higher example.
Right.
But this applies at a much higher level and a much bigger scale with God.
Absolutely.
If you're only afraid, it's really a very negative thing, and you're moving in a very negative direction.
And it's not really, we have to take a break, we'll be back to carry on inshallah, but it's not really why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us. He didn't create us so we'd be afraid of Him. He created us so we'd worship Him and love Him and know Him and become enslaved. But enslavement as being the epitome of love, as being ibad. We have this saying in Egypt, بِحِبَّهَا حُبِّ عِبَادَةٍ. He loves her the love of worship. So people know that love and worship are correlated, that you love something so much that you become enslaved to it. He created us to be enslaved to Him, to be completely consumed by Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And part of what makes us reach that enslavement, which is the epitome of love, which Brian Adams said about everything I do it for you. I'd cry for you, I'd lie for you, walk the wire for you, I'd die for you. He says everything I do it for you. So he's enslaved, but he's doing so out of love. He doesn't sound like he's having a bad time. He actually sounds like he's having fun. He loves that person. Again, to Allah belongs the most high example. Where are we from that? And one of the means to attain that enslavement that we were created for, and again, enslavement should have a positive connotation now, not a negative one. One of the means to attain that actually is that fear. So the fear is the means to that end. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in paradise tells the believers, and may Allah make us of them, that I will give you more. And He had given them everything. He said, what more can you give us? I mean, they don't doubt it, but we have everything. He said, I will give you my good pleasure, my reward, my contentment, my rida. فَلَا أَسْخَطُ عَلَيْكُمْ بَعْدَهَا أَبَدًا. I will never be displeased, or you will never incur my wrath again. There's no reason to be afraid. That is ultimately the relationship of beauty between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the servants. So fear is a means to an end in this dunya, to rectify our nufus. It can't be the norm. Religion and fear being the norm, that's just too negative. That's what sends us away from religion. But we'll be back after the break to look at some more examples, inshallah. Okay, I just wanted to give you an example of that beautiful point you made earlier about how people will tell you, pray or else you get punished, as opposed to pray, for example, and you'll get, infinite sakina, tranquility in your heart. Or as a friend of mine put it, he'll get a motorbike in Jannah with an infinite sunset, and he just keeps on driving forever. That's what he wants, you get all that you want. And so just to drive that point home, I remember getting a phone call from someone about 5 years ago, and struggling with Fajr prayer, and alhamdulillah I try and get up and stuff. And we call each other, we wake each other up. So he calls me up, he's like, salli, in Egyptian, just get up and pray. Okay. Jazakallah khairan, thank you. May Allah reward you. Get up and pray. He felt that my voice was still
half asleep.
Still thinking about it, Get up and pray. Like, okay. He's like, if you don't pray now, you'll pray in hellfire. And I was just like, oh. What's this tone? Well, what's wrong? I mean, where are you taking us? And then, he could have said something very different.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Fajr prayer is the example.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one thing that everybody sort of has difficulty with.
Okay.
And my partner at work has daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And he says what he used to do to get them to get up and pray was to knock on their door and says, who wants something from Allah today? Min aiz haga min Rabbana. Who wants something from Allah?
Interesting.
Get up, because all you have to do is ask him.
So get up and ask him.
Get up and ask him.
That tackles the part in the nafs where, as a young person, well, if they're a young person, that's what they want, where there's a maslaha, there's a benefit.
Yeah.
Go get your benefit. So it talks to that part in the
and it addresses, like you said, it addresses the reward as opposed to the punishment.
Like you beautifully pointed out.
It's the pull, not the push.
It's pulling you, not pushing you away.
Yeah.
That's just amazing.
The comment about the tranquility of heart, it reminded me of something. When you do something behind your parents' back, sneak out of the house, take some money, whatever, and you let that kind of build up into this, just this huge set of things that you do, you find that your relationship with your parents starts to just go downhill, and you don't even feel good about yourself anymore. When on the other hand, and subhanAllah, this is just a relation between two human beings, a parent and a child. When the child goes to their parents and they confess and they don't want to do it anymore, and they're like, I'm so sorry, I did this and this and this and this, and I know I'm going to be grounded for it, and I'm kind of hoping because I confessed up, you won't be telling me you're going to be grounded for this long, and maybe we'll just let it pass. You begin to feel better, and your relationship with your parents begins to improve tremendously. And subhanAllah, that's almost mirrored in your relationship with God, I think, when you kind of leave God out of your life and you just want to continue on this path of, I'm having fun, I'm sinning, I don't care. your relationship with God begins to falter, but subhanAllah, somehow your soul doesn't feel